What's up everyone, it's a knife side here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on this stone. This is the Spyderco Ultrafine Ceramic Benchstone. And this is a stone that I've had for a few months now, and I've really just mainly been using it for touch-ups on my knives, or if I go through a full grit progression and want to finish with a mirror polish, this will be my finishing stone. So this isn't going to really be a video where it's like, oh, full 15-minute sharpening on one stone. I'm really just going to be touching up this Mannix here because I have a couple of little chips in the edge that I want to get out, and so this is the main stone that I use for it. But these are stones. I have this one and then the Spyderco medium bench stone. I've done a review on this one too if you guys want to go check that out. These are ceramic stones, so basically they're very hard stones and very flat stones, and those are very good. They have very good tactile feedback, and they aren't very coarse, and they're not going to be good at, removing a bunch of edge damage, but they can just be very good. Kind of, this one is almost my middle of the road stone, while this one is my finishing stone. So I really like that. And they are to the point where they're so hard and so flat that with enough pressure, you can form a burr on these. So I really do like these stones. I'm glad that I've got both of them, but they are a little bit pricey. I know that the middle one or the medium one is about, I want to say, $50, and this one is $60 or $70. Sorry that I don't know the exact number, but right now I don't know if this is going to pick up on camera, but I have it. There is a little bit of buildup on here. It's to the point where I would not clean this off if I was actually using it. Hopefully this is centered on my camera, but I do want to show myself cleaning it, so I will do that really quick for you guys. I'm going to get it tightened down inside of my little stone holder. I just got this thing, or I've actually had it for a while. I just never have really done a sharpening video in a bit, so it's the first time you guys are seeing it. But what I do is I put water on it, then I have Barkeeper's Friend. This is my favorite way to clean it. I really like it, and I feel like it does a great job. One thing I don't like is I'm not very good at just putting a little bit on here, because you truthfully only need a little bit of this stuff in order to actually, you don't need to dump the whole container, and it either feels like a little bit comes out or a whole lot does. So I'm going to try and sprinkle some on there. But then I have a Scotch-Brite pad, and I pretty much just scrub it in. Both sides of this thing are pretty hard, so I'm just going to, this is a very old sponge. I should probably change it out, but and some of my sponge is coming off on the corner of that stone. So I'm going to put a little bit more water on here. And we are pretty clean. And I didn't use that much Barkeeper's Friend. I'll just put a little bit more on there. There we go. Hopefully that's enough. You don't really need much, but I barely put any just because it's hard to get just a little bit out of there. All right, sorry if that took a little bit, but that is pretty much it. Then I have a rag that I pretty much use to wipe off this stone. Because if you use a paper towel, one thing I've noticed, I might just need a nicer paper towel, but it leaves kind of like a little bit of the fuzz left, and then when you go to sharpen, you can really hear it. So I'm just brushing it off with my hand to make sure that it's a smooth surface. And then I have dish soap and water here, and I basically just use this as the sharpening lubricant. Let me put it on here, and I feel like this does a good job at keeping the stone, or making there be less buildup on it, because especially on this ultrafine stone, it will build up pretty fast, and it will be kind of hard to get off, or at least harder than the medium stone. Maybe it's just because you can see it easier because it's a black buildup on a white stone, but the medium one is just kind of gray buildup on a dark gray stone. But let's get sharpening. So what I'm going to do, usually I kind of take it at an angle, or usually take my knives like this. I'm going to actually keep it perpendicular to the stone just because I kind of want to hit this choil area a little bit better on this Mannix. Oh, I should have shown the edge before. I didn't hit it up on this stone very much, so I will try my best to show this edge. There were a little bit of chips and rolls, so I guess you might just have to take my word for it. But it's a very sharp edge. It's just catching in a couple spots right there. I hope this is on camera. And right there, to the point where I can't strop it out. And I do have some strop compound in the mail that is like 4 micron diamond emulsion. So I'm really excited about getting that. Hopefully it'll kind of be better at stropping than just my white compound. Also, I noticed my tip was a little bit chipped on here, so I will try and focus on that. And I learned this little tip from Jay Davis. He doesn't post in a while. You guys probably know him if you're watching my videos. But basically, when you do the sharpening and you want to hit the tip, just act like you're doing a normal stroke. Finish on the tip, and you know where it is, right there. And then you just go back and forth. So I have not formed a burr, but I'm just checking the edge. It looks pretty polished on there. I'm trying to make sure I hit this choil a little bit. Sorry that I don't talk much in these sharpening videos. I just, sometimes when I record one, I'll be too focused on talking and not as focused on sharpening. And then eventually I just won't get the knife as sharp as I want it to, just because I'm not really focused on locking in and holding my angle. And on this stone, at least, you can almost feel the chips in the edge, almost like little bumps on your stone. And it's really nice because it's like once those go away, pretty much got it. And if you're wondering what that noise is, that's just the noise of the plunge hitting the corner of my stone. Kind of loud and annoying, but that's just something you gotta deal with when you sharpen a Spyderco. This doesn't soak in, by the way. I just feel like I'm kind of scraping some of the dish soap off, so I'm just putting a little bit more on there. That light above me was making a weird noise. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys saw that or heard that, but I actually felt me kind of wobbling my hand a little bit on that stone. What I did is when I went back, I used a little bit too much pressure with this hand, and I just slightly heard my knife come up a little bit, and so I just adjusted and put it back. So it's not a good thing what I did, but that's what I like about this stone, because it's so easy to hear if you're on angle or not. It really makes you almost sharpen better, and I feel like this stone has made me a better sharpener. Or really my medium stone more, just because that one is better at metal removal, and so I use that one a little bit more than this one. And a lot of times I'll just do singular strokes on this one, but I kind of want to make sure I'm hitting the whole bevel to get a mirror polish to show you guys. And so I feel like when I go back and forth, I'm really focused on holding the angle on one specific side. One thing I've noticed about this stone that is a little bit odd is it's not the best in the world at knocking off a burr, and I really don't know why. Like sometimes I'll have a burr, maybe the knife I'm sharpening just isn't at the, is at a pretty soft HRC, but I feel like I've sharpened enough knives on this to know that I've sharpened knives with a good HRC on this. And so it's one of those things where sometimes I notice it doesn't knock off a burr very fast. I'm having trouble finding out why that is. Maybe it's just so hard and so flat that knocking off a burr is kind of just pushing one to the other side. But I really don't know. But honestly, what I do is I really don't focus as much on this stone as getting a sharp edge. I just pretty much hit it on this stone, make sure I'm fine with the scratch pattern, and then move my way to my straw, just because that'll knock off any burr that I need to knock off. So just feeling my edge right now with my fingernail, it feels pretty good. I am using very light pressure now. If you guys are wondering on the amount of pressure you can use with this stone, you can actually use a lot because the ceramic, like I said a million times, you guys are probably tired of hearing it, it's very hard and very strong. So you can use heavy pressure. It's not like a water stone that if it's a soft water stone and you use a lot of pressure, it's going to dish out. And it's not like a diamond stone where if you use too much pressure, you might rip out some of the diamonds and make it lose its cutting power. And that is one of those things that I'm not the biggest fan of with these stones, because sometimes it's like, it just kind of feels like it's kind of hard to switch up my different pressure, I guess, because as I'm doing a sharpening, because I have an Atoma 600 that is probably my most used stone. So I usually go from that to like my Sharpening Pro 1000 and then move on to my Spyderco medium stone. So on my Atoma, I'm using very little pressure. On my Sharpening Pro, I'm using pretty little pressure. It can take harder pressure, but I always kind of result to using light pressure. And then on these, you can use harder pressure. So it's one of those things that it's really just whatever you're most comfortable with. Sometimes I use too much pressure to the point where I get a hand cramp. So I wouldn't say you need to use that much, but I guess I'm just trying to hold my angle, and sometimes it doesn't work as well. So that edge feels pretty good. I'm gonna test it, see how it is. Just feeling it, it feels sharp, and just running it on my fingernail. Seems like we've gotten all of those chips out of there. So yeah, the edge feels pretty good. Let me show you guys the polish really quick. Hopefully this is showing up on camera. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It does give it a very nice polish on there, and it looks good. One thing about me is I feel like I kind of got on a mirror polish kick a while back, and honestly I've kind of gone away from that. I'm going to lift my camera up just a little bit, try and make it easier on myself to get this paper cut test on camera. But here we go. Once again, it's probably not going to be like way sharper than my first cut was, but it'll probably be better. There we go. Yes, a very sharp edge. You hear how quiet that is? Keep in mind, this is very, very thin phone book paper, to the point where a lot of times if I'm sharpening a toothy edge on a knife, I almost don't use this for a cut test media, I guess you could call it, just because it's like almost too flimsy that it's hard to cut with. But yes, very, very sharp. I really like this edge, and I'm happy with how it turned out. That is just as sharp, if not sharper, than when I first sharpened it. And really, if you're just honing like I did there, you honestly don't even have to do as much sharpening as I did on this stone. You can just do probably 10 to 20 back and forth passes on each side, and you'll be good. But it's one of those things where I wanted to make sure I got all the chips out and it was good enough for this video. But it will S-cut. Kind of slipped up on there. Very sharp edge. I'm happy with it. And I really feel like Spy 27, I know a lot of people probably don't care. This has sharpened up very well for me, and I'm happy with it. It deburrs nice. It forms a crisp apex. I guess some people probably want to see a hair shaving test. Let's get this on here. I have blonde arm hair, so it probably won't show up that good, especially, and also because I've shaved a lot of my hairs off, so. Yep, it will shave. It is very sharp. I was hardly using any pressure on it, but after this video, after I'm done with it, I'll probably just strop it, and then I'll be good to go. Even though I don't really need to strop it, it's pretty much sharp enough. I just kind of always like to strop my knives in case there's just a little bit of a burr left on, but by just feeling it, it feels good. But that is going to do it for the video. Overall, my final conclusions on this stone: is it worth the price to the average person? My thought is, if you are looking for a knife that will, or not a knife, a stone, sorry about that. If you're looking for a stone that will mirror polish and be great for touch-ups, this one is your best bet, and it will be really good for that. Now, if you're looking for a stone that is going to get your knife from a dull knife to a sharp knife, no. A big misconception, sorry, I can't talk, with beginners is they think that, oh, if I get a finer grit stone, my edge will therefore be sharper. When the truth is, if you can't get a sharp edge on your coarsest stone, you won't be able to get a sharp edge at all. And so I really feel like this stone, probably I wouldn't suggest it to the beginner right now. I would suggest investing in some nice diamond stones that can really help you grow in sharpening. And then once you become more of a sharpening enthusiast, start looking more towards these stones. But it's one of those things where I've really enjoyed sharpening on the stone. Kind of got me on a mirror polish kick. I'm kind of fading away from that now just because I feel like a toothy edge performs a little bit better on most steels than a mirror polished edge does. But overall, I'm a fan of this stone. I like it. I'm happy that I purchased it. And it's probably going to last more than my lifetime unless I drop it on the floor. But overall, I'm happy with the stone. I thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next one.